Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are going to learn how to draw and measure angles. We've got 4 success criteria, and the first one is to understand measures of a turn. So an angle is the space, which is usually measured in degrees, between two intersecting lines or surfaces at a point where they meet. And the word intersecting means where they touch or where they cross. So turns in maths are described in degrees. A quarter of a turn is 90 degrees. Half a turn is 180 degrees. 3/4 of a turn is 270 degrees. And a full turn is 360 degrees. We can also go in a clockwise direction, or we can turn in an anti-clockwise direction. So let's have a look at this question. Emily is facing northwest and turns 90 degrees clockwise. In which direction is she now facing? So if we start at the northwest direction and turn 90 degrees clockwise, we can see she's now facing northeast. Peter is facing west and turns, so he's now facing south. So let's describe how he has turned. Well, if he turned clockwise and he was facing west and he's now facing south, that means he's turned 270 degrees clockwise. Or if he turned anti-clockwise, he will have turned 90 degrees anti-clockwise. Here's some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers, and there's your amber answers. So now we've completed success criteria 1, we're going to move on to number 2, and this is to classify angles. So a right angle is a 90-degree angle. And remember, that's a quarter of a turn. And we show an angle is right angled by drawing a square on the diagram. The other angles that you need to know about are an acute angle, which is less than 90 degrees, an obtuse angle, which is more than 90 degrees but less than 180 degrees, a reflex angle, which is more than 180 degrees but less than 360 degrees, and a straight line. And straight lines are always exactly 180 degrees. Here's some questions for you to have a go at. So you need to give the name of each type of these angles. Pause the video, and when you're ready for the answers, press play. Here are your answers. So the first one is an acute angle. This one's an obtuse angle. This is a reflex angle. This is a right angle. This is an acute angle. And this is a reflex angle. We can also give degrees to the turns on a compass. So if we start at north and we turn to northeast, that's a 45-degree turn. If we turn to east, that's 90 degrees. Southeast is 135 degrees. South is 180 degrees. Southwest is 225 degrees. West is 270 degrees, and northwest is 315 degrees, and a full turn is 360 degrees. So now we're going to have a look at estimating the size of angles. So this is an acute angle, so it must be less than 90 degrees. If we draw a right angle to help us, you can see it's just over halfway. So it's going to be just bigger than 45 degrees. So we can say it's going to be around 55 degrees. For this angle, well, we know it's an obtuse angle, so that means it's going to be between 90 and 180 degrees. So I've estimated this angle will be a roughly 130 degrees. This angle here is a reflex angle, so it must be bigger than 180 degrees, but less than 360 degrees. So I've estimated that this angle is around 310 degrees. Here's some questions for you to have a go at. So you need to estimate the size of each of these angles. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So this one is between 80 and 89. This one's in between 45 and 55. This one's in between 340 and 350. This one's in between 160 and 170 degrees. This one's in between 200 and 210 degrees. And this one's in between 80 and 89 degrees. And now we've completed success criteria 2. So now we're going to move on to number 3, and this is to measure angles. So we want to measure the size of this angle. So the first step is to decide what type of angle it is. Well, it's an acute angle, so we know it's going to be in between 0 and 90 degrees. We then put the protractor on like this, and we have a look at where the line goes through the protractor. So it crosses here. Now, a lot of people get this wrong because they just look at the outside scale. So they might think that this angle is 132 degrees. Well, we know it's an acute angle, so it's got to be in between 0 and 90 degrees. So we actually need to have a look at the inside scale. So it's going to be just less than 50. So it's 48 degrees. For this angle, we want to measure the size of it. So again, we need to decide what type of angle it is. Well, it's an obtuse angle, so we know it's going to be bigger than 90, but less than 180. We put our protractor on like this, and we see where the line goes through our protractor, which is over here. Now again, a lot of people get this wrong because they might say it's about 15 degrees, which it's not. It's got to be in between 90 and 180 degrees. So this time we're looking at the outside scale. So that's 165 degrees. Again, we need to measure this angle here. So we need to decide what type of angle it is. So this is a reflex angle. So it's going to be in between 180 degrees and 360 degrees. So for reflex angles, we need to measure the inside angle and then take it away from 360. So we measure the inside angle first. So this angle, there's our line, and that's going to be 62 degrees. Now we know a reflex angle is between 180 and 360 degrees, so we've got to take that 62 away from 360, and that will give us the outside angle. So that's 298 degrees. Here's some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So you can mark those. Now we've completed success criteria 3, so we're going to move on to number 4, and this is to draw angles. So we want to draw an angle of 56 degrees. So we put our protractor on the end of the line, so make sure the middle of the protractor is on the end of the line, and we look at the 0 that the line goes through. So we start at 0 and we go up 56 degrees. So remember, this is going to be an acute angle, so just remember what an acute angle looks like. So there's 56 degrees there. We then remove our protractor and we draw a line joining up our mark with the end of the line. So that's our 56 degree angle. This time we want to draw an angle of 138 degrees. So we put our protractor on the end of the line. Make sure the middle of the protractor is on the end of the line. Always start at 0. So we start at the 0 that our line goes through. And we measure 138 degrees around. So 138 degrees is going to be over there. Remember, it's an obtuse angle. We then remove our protractor and we draw the rest of the line. So this angle here is 138 degrees. This time we want to draw an angle of 324 degrees. So we put our protractor on the end of the line. Now because 324 is bigger than 180, so it doesn't fit on our protractor, so we need to take this away from 360. So if we draw a 36 degree angle and then highlight the outside of the angle. So we measure 36 degrees, which would be there, and we mark that on. And then we draw our line. So the inside, remember, is 36 degrees, which means the outside must be 324 degrees. So there's our 324 degree angle. Here's some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. So here are your answers. Here are your green answers. And here are your amber answers. And now we've completed success criteria 4. So now that we've completed the last objective, it's time to end the video. Hope you enjoyed it and I hope you found it useful. Make sure to like and subscribe and be sure to check out the other videos on the rest of the channel. I'll see you next time. See ya.